Schmitt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chair Creed and Vice Chair Kyle, thank you for the work that you put into this. Our nuclear arsenal is perhaps the most important tool that we have to ensure peace through strength. Your report reflects, I think, the urgent need for the United States to modernize our nuclear arsenal now. As China and Russia continue to produce more and more nuclear weapons, we're kind of spectators in this race in many ways. And for decades, we've underinvested in our arsenal as China grows in strength with the rapidity that you mentioned. And I'm from Missouri, and went to law school at the same law school. Missouri plays we're part of that infrastructure, right, with Whiteman Air Force Base and the B-2 stealth bomber. We also have the NNSA's Kansas City National Campus, which plays a very important role in all of this. And I got to go there this past August, and their mission is critical. And so I think your report talks about a lot of these things that are related to our state, but of course in our national interest. I did want to ask, maybe for Senator Kyle, I think there is a view among many across the country that as it relates to nuclear weapons, I'm sure you've encountered this, that we have enough to blow up the world multiple times over, so do our adversaries. So how would you describe this if you were going back to Arizona and talking to constituents about this, of what makes this modernization, beyond just we've got to do it in the competition aspect of it, what makes this modernization so important for deterrence? Why is it relevant when I think a lot of people believe we've got enough bombs, right? What's the point?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Schmitt, this is a teaching moment. And it starts with bursting a lot of bubbles, explaining to folks that what they may think is fact is not true. Start with, we've got all the nukes we need, we can blow up the world many times over. Well, actually, under the START Treaty, we limited the number of strategic nuclear weapons that we have deployed. And so while we may have some other assets in storage that we could potentially bring to use here, we have deployed only what we think is necessary at that time to deter Russia. Secondly, I would begin by explaining, and we have charts in the report that show this, the age of these weapons. And just ask them, if you had a car that was designed in the 60s or 70s, and you've got more miles on it now than it was supposed to have, in 1980, and you're still driving it, you think you might have a problem with maintaining it? You think maybe you'd have to get a new one, or it'd cost a lot to maintain? These nuclear weapons are the most sophisticated things that man has ever invented. And yet, we have gone on a vacation, in effect, in the modernization of our nuclear weapons because we didn't think we really had to worry about our future. We thought that for about 20 years and then woke up one day and realized that others had started an arms race. Russia is almost done with its modernization. China is somewhere in the neighborhood of halfway through its military buildup, and we've just barely gotten out of the starting blocks.
What does that what does that modernization mean? When you say modernization, what does that mean as far as effectiveness and?
Right. Two things. First of all, the nuclear warheads were designed a long time ago. They were only designed to last about 10 years, and they're like 30 or 40 years old now. They need work. Right now, we're not replacing them. We're just, this is a shorthand term, refurbishing them. Secondly, the delivery vehicles, how we deliver these nuclear weapons, either through a bomber or a submarine with missiles or our missile forces in silos. All of those, likewise, were designed and developed decades ago. And if you look at the life of the submarines, for example, they only have a certain lifetime. Sea is not a benign environment for metal, and those things deteriorate rapidly. And the missiles themselves are now beyond their life. So any homeowner knows that you can't keep running the same dishwasher or washing machine forever.
Right.
Eventually it needs replacing. And these very sophisticated weapons are in that same situation. So you explain to folks, these are all really old. The other side is building up theirs. They have hot production lines producing new ones. We're trying to keep our old ones afloat for a while longer, and that's going to cost some money.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, would you indulge me just a quick question? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Creedon, one thing related to the Kansas City campus does get mentioned in the report. Could you just briefly add a little bit more color to the assessment that the need for additional square footage there and why that's relevant for the non-nuclear components?
So obviously, Kansas City is where the bulk of the non-nuclear components are made. And when the new Kansas City plant was built, which it is one of the newest facilities in the complex, and it is an excellent facility, it was built, it was sized on the size of the stockpile we thought when the thing was designed. As we know now, we need larger facilities. The NNSA has done a good job in terms of going out and leasing additional facilities to provide some of this additional capacity. And I know that they're developing a long-range plan. I obviously don't know all the specifics, but this is part of this infrastructure problem that we have to think about, that we have to invest in now, is the infrastructure. And Kansas City is a clear and important part of it.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Schmitt.